Richard Ashford sat in his corner office, reviewing the morning's interview schedule. As CEO of Ashford Enterprises, he'd built his real estate empire from nothing, and he prided himself on personally interviewing candidates for key positions. Today, he was hiring a new property manager, and the next candidate was Jennifer Matthews, scheduled for 9 o'clock at 58. Richard valued punctuality, professionalism, and commitment above everything else. Those qualities had taken him from a struggling contractor to one of the most successful developers in the city. His assistant buzzed. "Mr. Ashford, your 9 o'clock is here." "Send him in," Richard said, not looking up from the resume on his desk. He heard the door open and small footsteps on the hardwood floor. That made him look up. Standing in the doorway was a little girl, no more than 5 or 6 years old, with blonde hair tied in 2 pigtails. She wore a pink dress with a gray cardigan and clutched a brown leather folder against her chest. Her blue eyes were wide and serious. Richard blinked, confused. "Where's your mother?" The little girl took a careful step forward. "Mom's sick, so I came instead." Richard sat back in his chair. "I'm sorry, what?" "My mom is Jennifer Matthews. She has a job interview with you today at 9 o'clock. But she's really sick this morning. She's been throwing up and has a fever. She said we can't afford for her to miss this interview, so I came to give you her folder and tell you she's really, really sorry." Richard stared at this child standing in his office, holding what he now realized was her mother's portfolio. "How old are you?" "I'm 6. My name is Sophie." "Sophie, how did you get here?" "I took the bus. Mom keeps bus passes in her purse for emergencies, and she said this was really important. I know how to ride the bus because Mom and me take it together all the time." Richard felt something tighten in his chest. A 6-year-old had navigated the city bus system alone to deliver her sick mother's apology. "Does your mother know you're here?" Sophie's eyes filled with tears, but she blinked them back. "No, she was sleeping. The medicine made her really tired. But I heard her crying last night on the phone with Grandma. She said if she doesn't get this job, we might lose our apartment. I didn't want Mom to lose her chance because she's sick." Richard stood slowly and walked around his desk, then knelt down to Sophie's eye level. "Sophie, that was very brave, but also very dangerous. You can't travel across the city by yourself." "I know," Sophie whispered, "but Mom works so hard, and she never complains, and she does everything for me. I wanted to do something for her." Richard looked at this little girl holding her mother's portfolio like it was the most precious thing in the world, and felt his carefully constructed professional walls begin to crack. "Can I see what's in the folder?" he asked gently. Sophie handed it to him. Inside was a resume, letters of recommendation, and a handwritten note. "Mr. Ashford, I apologize for any delay. I'm committed to being on time and professional in all circumstances. Jennifer Matthews." The note was dated today, prepared in advance, in case she was late. Richard recognized someone who understood responsibility. "Sophie, tell me about your mom." Sophie's face brightened. "She's the best mom in the whole world. She works really hard at her job, but her boss is mean and doesn't pay her enough. She always makes sure I have everything I need, even when she goes without. She helps me with my homework every night, and she reads me stories, and she never gets mad, even when things are hard." "It's just the two of you?" Richard asked. Sophie nodded. "My dad left when I was a baby. Mom says it's okay because we have each other, but I know she's tired. I hear her worry about money. That's why this job is so important. She said working for you would change everything for us." Richard felt something he hadn't felt in years, emotion that went beyond business. Here was a child who loved her mother so much she'd risked everything to protect her chance at a better life. "Sophie, I need to call your mother right now. She's probably very worried about you." "She doesn't know I'm gone yet," Sophie said in a small voice. "Am I in trouble?" "We'll see. What's your phone number?" Sophie recited it carefully, and Richard dialed. The phone rang several times before a hoarse, panicked voice answered. "Hello? Miss Matthews. This is Richard Ashford from Ashford Enterprises." There was a sharp intake of breath. "Mr. Ashford, I am so sorry. I know I missed the interview. I've been terribly ill this morning. I just woke up to find my daughter missing." "Your daughter is here in my office," Richard interrupted gently. "She's perfectly safe." Silence. Then a sound that might have been a sob. "Sophie is with you." "Yes. She rode the bus across town to deliver your portfolio and explain why you couldn't make the interview." "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'll come get her right away." "Ms. Matthews, you're ill. Stay home. I'm going to have my driver bring Sophie back to you. But first, I'd like to ask you a few questions over the phone, if you're feeling up to it." "You still want to interview me?" "I do, because your daughter just taught me more about your character than any resume ever could." Over the next 20 minutes, Richard conducted the interview while Sophie sat, swinging her legs and looking around with wide eyes. Jennifer Matthews was articulate, knowledgeable, and professional despite being sick. But more than that, Richard heard in her voice the same dedication and love that had driven her daughter across the city. When the call ended, Richard looked at Sophie. "Your mom is very impressive." "I know," Sophie said proudly. "Is she going to get the job?" "Sophie, why do you think your mom wants to work for me?" Sophie thought carefully. She said, "You're fair. She said you treat people with respect and pay them what they're worth. She said working for someone with integrity would be an honor." Richard felt his throat tighten. When had anyone last called him a man of integrity? "You know what, Sophie? I think your mom deserves that honor." Richard called his assistant. "Please prepare an offer letter for Jennifer Matthews. Property manager position, full benefits, starting salary at the top of the range. And call my driver to take this young lady home safely." Sophie's eyes went wide. "Does that mean Mom got the job?" "It means your mom got the job, because she raised a daughter brave enough and loving enough to do what you did today. That tells me everything I need to know about her." Sophie threw her arms around Richard's neck, hugging him tight. "Thank you. Thank you." Richard, who hadn't been hugged in years, found his eyes growing wet. He gently hugged the little girl back. "Thank you, Sophie, for reminding me what really matters." 2 weeks later, Jennifer Matthews started her new position. Richard made a point of being there her first day. "Steady," she said, extending her hand. "I don't know how to thank you, not just for the job, but for taking care of Sophie that day. What happened is that a brave little girl showed me what real love looks like. She reminded me why I started this company, to create opportunities for people who work hard and deserve a chance." Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. "She told me what you said, that I raised her well. Coming from you, that means everything." Over the following months, Jennifer proved to be everything Richard had hoped. She was efficient, compassionate with tenants, and brought fresh ideas that improved operations. But more than that, her presence reminded him daily of what mattered beyond profit margins. He started a scholarship fund for children of single parents. He implemented better benefits for all employees. He began personally meeting with families who lived in his properties, remembering that these weren't just units, they were homes. One day, 6 months later, Sophie came to visit the office with her mother. She ran up to Richard with a drawing she'd made. "I made this for you," she said shyly. "It's you and me and Mom. We're a team." Richard looked at the crayon drawing of 3 stick figures holding hands, and felt something he hadn't felt since his own daughter was young. "We are a team," he said, kneeling to Sophie's level. "And you know what? You're the one who brought us together." Sometimes the most important interviews happen when you least expect them. Sometimes wisdom comes from the smallest voices, and sometimes a 6-year-old with pigtails and a borrowed bus pass can teach a CEO more about courage and love than a lifetime in boardrooms ever could. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it. Subscribe for more stories about unexpected moments that changed lives. Leave a comment about a time when a child taught you something profound. Your stories inspire us all.